Are you sure your dog sees you as a human? They almost certainly know you are not one of them. You do not smell like a dog, move like a dog, or communicate like a dog. But here is the part most people miss. In your dog's world, you are not just another species living in the same house. You hold a place that is far more personal than that, and if you misunderstand that place, you may miss the way your dog is truly bonded to you, the way they rely on you, and the way they read you every single day. So the real question is not whether your dog recognizes you as human. The real question is this: in your dog's world, who are you really? In this video, we are going to explore 6 truths that reveal what you truly are to your dog and why that bond may be deeper than most people ever realize. This video is not about turning dogs into little humans. It is about understanding the dog-human bond through behavior, emotion, and psychology. Dogs do not need abstract ideas to understand who you are. They do not think about you the way people think about other people. What matters to them is the role you play in their everyday world. Are you familiar? Are you trustworthy? Do you help them feel steady when something feels uncertain? Through 6 key ideas, this video will explore why your dog knows you are a different species, why they still give you such a unique place in their life, and why this relationship is far deeper than most people ever describe. 1. Your dog does not mistake you for a dog. They are simply built to pay close attention to humans. The first thing to understand is that your dog does not confuse you with one of their own. They know you are different. You do not move like a dog. You do not sound like a dog. You do not smell like a dog. Even the way you react to the world is different. And dogs are remarkably good at noticing all of that. They pay attention to faces, tone of voice, body movement, routines, and emotional shifts in ways that many people underestimate. But the more important point is not that your dog sees you as different. It is that they are especially tuned to human signals. Over thousands of years, dogs have lived beside us so closely that paying attention to people became part of their survival. The dogs that read humans well were more likely to stay safe, find resources, avoid conflict, and remain close to the social world that mattered most. Over time, that sensitivity became one of the defining traits of the species. That is why your dog can notice the smallest change in your voice before you even realize you sound different. It is why they often pick up on your body language before you give a command. It is why they can seem to study your face in a way that feels almost unsettling, as if they are trying to read a thought you have not spoken out loud. They are not doing that because they think you are a strange-looking dog. They are doing it because, in their world, humans are not background noise. Humans are socially important. And for your dog, you are not just any human. You are the human their attention keeps returning to. The one whose movements mean something. The one whose habits create patterns. The one whose reactions can change the emotional temperature of a moment. So before we even ask what you really are to your dog, we have to start here. Your dog knows you are not like them, but that does not make you less meaningful. In some ways, it makes you more meaningful because their mind is already shaped to watch human beings closely, and especially to watch the humans they depend on most. 2, in scientific terms, you are closest to what is called a secure base. If the first truth is that your dog knows you are not a dog, then the second truth goes deeper. Your dog is not just watching you. In many moments, they are anchoring themselves to you. This is where the idea of attachment becomes important. In behavioral science, a secure base is not simply someone an animal likes being around. It is someone whose presence changes the way the animal experiences the world. When that figure is nearby, exploration feels safer. Stress becomes easier to regulate. Uncertainty feels more manageable. And for many dogs, that is exactly what their person becomes. This does not mean your dog sees you as a parent in the human sense. It means your presence often serves a similar emotional function. You help the world feel less overwhelming. You make new places easier to enter. You make rest come more easily. You give your dog a reference point that allows them to settle, recover, and move forward. That is why so many everyday behaviors are easy to misread. When your dog follows you from room to room, it may not be clinginess in the shallow sense people often assume. It may be the quiet pull of attachment. When your dog chooses to lie near you, even when nothing exciting is happening, that is not always a request for attention. Sometimes it is simply the clearest place in the room where their nervous system feels able to soften. And when your dog becomes restless the moment you leave, that reaction may not be stubbornness or bad manners. It may be a sign that the figure helping them feel steady has suddenly disappeared. Seen this way, attachment is not a sentimental extra. It is part of how your dog organizes safety. This also explains something deeply moving about the bond between dogs and humans. Your dog does not need to understand your job, your worries, or the story of your day. They do not need language for any of that. What they understand is that your presence changes what the world feels like, and that kind of understanding can run very deep. So if we need the most accurate scientific description of what you are to your dog, this may be the closest one. You are not just a provider. You are not just a companion. For many dogs, you are the stable point they return to when the world feels uncertain. 3. Your dog carries your scent as part of what feels familiar and safe. If attachment explains why your presence matters, scent helps explain how that presence lingers even when you are not there. Humans tend to remember each other through faces, voices, and words. Dogs do not build memory in quite the same way. For them, scent is not a small detail in the background. It is one of the deepest layers of recognition. Your smell does not simply tell your dog who you are. It also carries the emotional history of being near you. That is why a dog may curl up on your clothes instead of a perfectly soft bed. It is why they may rest in the place where you were sitting just moments ago. It is why some dogs settle more easily when they have access to a blanket, a shirt, or an object that still holds your scent when you are away. What they are responding to is not just identity, it is association. Your scent has been present during meals, walks, quiet evenings, gentle touch, routines, and moments of reassurance. Over time, your dog does not just recognize that smell. Their body learns what that smell usually means: familiarity, predictability, relief, the return of something known. In that sense, your scent becomes more than a marker of presence. It becomes part of the emotional atmosphere your dog connects with steadiness. Even when you are gone, a trace of you can still act like a bridge between absence and comfort, and that can tell you something profound about how dogs love. They do not only hold on to us in memory through dramatic moments, sometimes they hold on to us through the quiet physical traces we leave behind. A worn shirt on the floor, a spot on the couch, a doorway that still smells like home because you passed through it. So when your dog presses into your laundry, lies across your side of the bed, or seems calmer near something that smells like you, it is not always random, and it is not always about possession. Sometimes it is the simplest form of reassurance their senses know how to find. To your dog, your scent is not just information, it is part of what makes the world feel familiar. 4. Your dog looks to your reaction to understand what the moment means. By this point, we can see that your dog does not just recognize you and feel attached to you. They also use you as a guide. When something unfamiliar happens, many dogs do something very telling. They look at their person before they decide what to do. A strange noise, a new visitor, an unusual object in the hallway, a sudden change in the environment. In those moments, your dog is often not reacting to the situation alone. They are checking your response first. That matters because your reaction helps shape the meaning of the moment. If you stay relaxed, your dog is more likely to remain open and curious. If you tense up, pull back, or sound alarmed, your dog may begin to treat the situation as a problem even before they fully understand it themselves. In other words, your dog is not only observing the world directly, they are also reading the world through you. This is one of the clearest signs that you are more than a familiar presence. You are a social reference point. Your dog uses your face, your body, your voice, and your timing as clues. Not because they are helpless, but because in their experience, your reactions often carry useful information. Over time, they learn that the way you respond can help them decide whether to approach, pause, investigate, or step away. That is why a dog may hesitate at the edge of something new, then move forward only after seeing that you are calm. It is why some dogs become braver when their person speaks in a steady voice, and it is why your own uncertainty can travel so quickly through the leash, through your posture, and into your dog before a single word is spoken. What makes this so powerful is that it is happening in real time. This is not just memory, it is not just attachment, it is moment-to-moment interpretation. Your dog is asking, what does this mean? And can I trust the way this feels? Very often, the first place they look for that answer is you. So when your dog turns to you in a confusing moment, they are not always asking for comfort alone. Sometimes they are asking for context. They are trying to understand the world by seeing how you understand it first. 5. Your dog is affected not only by what you do, but by the emotional state you bring into the room. There is another layer to this bond that many people feel without fully realizing it. Your dog does not only respond to your actions, they also respond to your state. That means your dog is not just watching what you do with your hands, where you walk, or whether you give a command. They are also taking in the tension in your voice, the pace of your movements, the heaviness in your breathing, the sharpness in your reactions, and the emotional rhythm you carry through the day. A dog living with a calm and predictable person often begins to settle into that rhythm. The home feels easier to read. The day feels easier to anticipate. But when the emotional tone of the environment becomes tense, erratic, or constantly unsettled, dogs often absorb that too. They may become more watchful, more reactive, more clingy, or sometimes more withdrawn. This is important because it means your influence goes far beyond training. You are affecting your dog even in the moments when you think nothing is happening. The rushed way you move through the house, the frustration in your tone after a hard day, the way your body tightens before you reach for the leash, the silence that feels heavy instead of peaceful. Dogs notice more of this than we usually imagine, and that can be a difficult thought, but it can also be a very hopeful one. Because if your inner state shapes your dog's experience of home, then your steadiness can become a gift. Your patience can become part of their sense of security. Your consistency can teach their nervous system that not every strange sound, delay, or disruption is something to fear. So when we say your dog is bonded to you, we are talking about more than affection. We are talking about emotional influence. The atmosphere you create does not stay inside you. Your dog lives inside it too. That is why your dog may relax when you finally exhale, why they may stay restless when your body is still but your stress is not, and why sometimes the kindest thing you can offer your dog is not another command, but a calmer version of your presence. 6. The simplest way to say it is this. To your dog, you are their central person. By now, the picture is much clearer. Your dog does not relate to you as if you were just another animal in the environment. And they do not need a human-style concept of personhood to make you matter this deeply. What they know is something more immediate than that. They know who they look for when something feels uncertain. They know whose absence changes the shape of the day. They know whose arrival can soften their body before a single touch happens. They know which voice, which footsteps, which scent, and which presence belong to the one individual who matters in a way no one else quite does. That is why the phrase "your dog does not see you as human" should not sound cold. It should sound revealing. It means your dog is not relating to you at the level of category first. Not human, not non-dog, not owner as a label. They are relating to you through significance, through familiarity, through dependence, through trust earned over thousands of ordinary moments. In the emotional map of your dog's life, you are often the center point they return to. The one they check for, the one they wait for, the one they read most carefully, the one whose presence changes how the rest of the world feels. And maybe that is the most beautiful part of all. Your dog does not need to think, "This is a human," in order to love you in a deep and organized way. What they seem to know, in the language available to them, is something closer to this. This is the being I turn to. This is the being who makes things make sense. This is the being whose presence helps me settle. So if we want the most human way to say what you are to your dog, it may simply be this. You are their person, not because they misunderstand what you are, but because what you are to them matters more than the category you belong to. In the end, the most important question is not whether your dog thinks of you as a human in the way humans think about themselves. The more meaningful truth is this. In your dog's world, you are far more than the one who fills the bowl or gives the commands. You are the one they turn toward when they need steadiness. You are the familiar presence that helps them make sense of uncertain moments. You are part of the bond that shapes how safe, how calm, and how connected their daily life feels. And maybe that is why the smallest behaviors can carry so much weight. The quiet choice to lie near you, the instinct to follow you from one room to another, the glance they give you before deciding what to do. These are not always just cute habits. Often they are signs of where you live inside your dog's emotional world. So the next time your dog rests beside you without asking for anything, do not only wonder what they want. Ask something deeper. Who am I to this animal who trusts me so completely? Because once you see that clearly, you may never look at your dog the same way again.